morning. So if you guys don't know, my name's Brian. You probably remember me. I submitted to be typed in sometime around May of 2022. But I just want to get retyped, and my focus is the 32 coins. I think the socials are interesting for the sake of the bigger picture, but I just want to make sure that those 32 coins are right. So I just want to be clear that that I don't think I'm TISI. I was typed, I think sometime maybe in March of 2022, as TISI, an INTP jumper. At the time, I was in the middle of my psychology degree, and I think I was in the middle of a lot of really quantitative courses. So I was taking courses like cognition, statistics, and a course called biopsychology. So I was memorizing neuroscience, learning statistics. Maybe I took cognition earlier. Oh, well, I had my capstone. My capstone had me doing a lot more NT. The capstone was called eco-psychology, and it was sort of this one professor's passion project was to teach students about this it was based around a specific book called Eco-Psychology, which included a whole array of authors. Every chapter was a different author. And I think that while I was reading that and studying that, I became a lot more NT in my day-to-day, in the day-to-day demands of my cognition became NT-ST. So I think at that time, I got on camera and it was all ST. So I think I'm NIFE. So that would be a Myers-Briggs INFJ. I'm not attached to the INFJ. I'm attached to the idea that I have OI at the top. So I think my animals would be blast, sleep, consume. And I think my social type is a number 1. in college, I had a great deal of decider issues. I think this is I think this might have been because my social type is a decider. People can tell that I have flex way above friends. And those that don't share flex above friends, I think they find it really off-putting because there's this sense in which I'm not being honest, as if I'm holding back my real potential. As if I'm lying to them with every move that I make. As if I'm controlling them and trying to gain power. People have been treating me like my sacrifices are indulgences. Then they treat me like my acts of selflessness are secretly selfish. This makes it impossible to function because people are so afraid. Like, I think flex is a really powerful social type to have because it can overlap with any 32 type. So in my life, most of my problems have been EJ problems. And y'all know what an EJ problem is. So, what's the difference between the pain of an EJ and the pain of an IP? One thing that I think is going on is whenever I pass a person, I feel this reflexive need to acknowledge them. And I also feel a reflexive need for my eye to find their face. It's almost like DE is channel changing with the people, and DI is not channel changing with the people. So if a new person enters a room, I think a DE user is going to lock onto them. And sometimes what I would struggle with is my DE would channel change, and then my flex goes, oh, this person's a loser, and then I'd look away. So that always came off really awkward. But the DE cares almost because it knows it can't survive unless it helps another person. Like, I have to make sure that the tribe is okay, because if the tribe isn't okay, then there's no one to save me when I'm in trouble. But I really want to go over the difference between the DE and the DI when it's in that first slot. So EJs, they'll often have broader faces, and they as Shan has mentioned, it's a play function. So they're always helping people. They likely have trouble setting boundaries, and they likely have trouble saying no. When they're hanging out with someone, they might have trouble figuring out how to say goodbye, I want to go home. So a social engagement might linger on a little too long with someone with DE at the top. Like, they can't figure out how to say, okay, enough is enough. I need my energy now. They might find themselves signing contracts that they shouldn't be signing. So they get an opportunity to go work somewhere, and they can't say no to anything. Or they join, say, a club, and their attention is so devoted to other people that they might have trouble saying no. Now, this is very much influenced by what Shan has taught me over the years. I've been in the class since 2019, but I've kind of tapered off watching for these long periods of time because I've got college, I've got work. But over the years, I've really stuck around, and Shan has taught me a lot of kind of what it means to have D at the top. And yet, y'all think that she's flex. So when her DE problems will likely be, there will be this hair-raising flex in the back of her mind. Like, oh my God, I'm doing too much DE right now. Like, she knows, Shan. And it's like, this DE has to stop. This is too much DE. I almost wonder if when you have an EJ with friends, if that looks different. To me, having flex feels like I'm the chosen one. That's what it feels like. I feel like everywhere I go in life, I have this belief that I'm the chosen one. And so when I try to work with other people, I'm always protecting that. And they see that I'm protecting that. And they're going, why don't you just be more like me? Because I'm free. It's kind of this thing that I keep running into when I meet with other people. They're like, I'm free, but I have all these crazy like morals. So for instance, I don't want to go on unemployment despite the fact that I've been unemployed since March. And that's not like a moral. That's not like something I learned at church. That's like, I hate going on their website. I know they're not going to be easy to deal with. I call my friend, he goes, no, you need to go on unemployment. You live in California where Democrats ruin everything. And make working into a kind of a form of socialism. You need to go on unemployment. This is my friend Matthias. He's an ENFP. I think he might be flex at the top. Which is why we're good friends. Yeah. People get the sense that I'm not genuine, or that I'm using my voice manipulatively, I almost think. Like I just caught it just then. And they're like, whoa, why are you doing that? I think I sometimes fall into the uncanny valley. And people who are not flex at the top, they just, I'll give you an example. So I was working at a place called Brookdale Senior Living, and I was working in assisted living. So I was basically taking care of old folks who are near death. And on one of my first days, I'm getting trained, and I'm looking for these things called chucks. Chucks is just a term for a pad that we put underneath old people in case they soil their brief. If they pee through their brief, then we need something underneath them, in between them and their bed sheets, so that we don't have to wash their bed sheets every 3 hours. So we use chucks, and sometimes we double them up, and it's just an absorbent pad. And I was looking for these chucks. I said, where are her chucks? And my coworker, she has a J name, goes, here they are. They're right here. They're right in front of you. And she just stared at me for a second, like I had betrayed her, or like I had stolen something from her. And she was a decider. I think she was TESE. I think she was play, blast, sleep, consume. And I actually think she was a number one. So I started this story with people who don't have flex, don't understand. No, she was just maybe becoming conscious of the opcode. And she saw that I might have SE at the bottom, because there were chucks right in front of me and I didn't see them. And at that moment, she realized why she can't trust me, or why she might not be able to trust me, is because she knows that I know that I don't have sensory, savior sensory. And at that moment, I think she realized that, but kind of only half consciously, because after all, she doesn't know what sensory really is or intuition. I think she figured out that I don't have savior sensory and that my sensory might be fourth. And I think that might have disturbed her. And she way overreacted. The trouble with her is that her TEFI swing turned her into something like Medusa. And she would curse at work. She would yell over the walkie-talkie. She was a monster. But the fact that she had double observers and DE at the top and had been there for so long, she had 2 kids, and she's somewhere around 30. So she's a millennial. So I'm 24. So, Gen Z is just trying to get into the workforce, and millennials don't like them. And so she was a millennial. She's about the same age as my brother, who I believe has SI. I don't think he has SC. But yeah, that coworker ended up basically conspiring to get me fired. So. And I think my flex ignites something competitive in people. And if they don't have flex themselves, they don't see how I'm not going to usurp them. I think that in my life, people are afraid that I'll usurp them. A usurper, what is that? So if you have a king and you have some other political rival, then a usurper is someone who steals the throne. So I think my brother has perhaps struggled with that. Struggled with the idea that I've taken something from him, like I've taken his birthright, his older brother. But I think that's something God gives you. That's not something that can be taken. So even if I do take that, even if I do scheme to try to usurp someone, in the act of usurpation, I display that I'm untrustworthy. Even if I conspire and make everyone and frame it like I'm good, God knows what happened. God. So then the question becomes, how evil is God? Like, will he let someone get away with a truly heinous act of usurpation, where they frame it so that the other person caused their own downfall? This is like something out of Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And then they kind of try to keep up a conspiracy of lies. The problem is the kind of character you need to actually lead is not falsifiable. Is that the right word? No, it's not the right word. It's not forgeable. So you can't forge, you can't create a fraudulent copy of the character you really need in order to lead. So it's a matter of, if I really have the gifts, and I've really made the sacrifices that might make me deserving of some kind of leadership, wherever that may be, then now I've earned that. And once you've earned something, once you've really earned something, and you've done right by it, and you've been honest about trying to get it, then I think that thing being yours is good. Then the question becomes, even if I come off like some kind of psycho, what does it mean for me to actually earn something? So that's one problem I've been having in the workplace, is I play the game fair, but everyone gets this hair-raising thing when I'm around. And they're like, oh my God, he's gonna steal from us or something. And it's like, what am I gonna steal? And that's the thing, is that I think serotonin, which determines status, can be more or less stolen. So I think that people can get into relationships where one person starts to act extremely socially dominant on the basis of unearned superiority, or they start to act like a social superior. And I know this is decider talk, but in that case, what happens is that it's like the one person starts to eat the other person. And this can be in a workplace, this can be in a prison cell. It's like the one soul starts to eat the soul of the other person. I know. But then the question becomes, what is the soul? Because I know that sort of transference can happen, or that form of social interaction exists, because I've experienced it so many times, is that you get in a relationship with someone you really love, and then in some strange way you feel like they're beginning to eat your soul. Like I've just experienced this so many times, and I think as a flex type, it's like that might be the illusion. But it's the most real thing to me, is that other people steal portions of what we might call a soul. And I think it definitely has to do with how the deciders, what the deciders mediate. But soul has to be different than the functions. Carl Jung tried to define the soul, actually in psychological types. I know that looks like double observing, but it's just consume. So Jung has I think it's just the index at the back, or just a section called definitions at the end of psychological types. And within that section called definitions, he attempts to define the soul, because I think people were getting on his case about defining his terms, or maybe he was convicted internally to define his own terms. I've been through a lot of decider issues in the last 2 years. One thing I think was going on is that my Effie is good at tricking people. I like Darren Brown. And I think that when I gave you that video, that I tricked you. And that I wanted you to see TISI. Because I was angry. Or I resented the fact that you guys thought you might be better than me at typing. So my FE can trick people, and then my TI starts to raise an alarm bell. And then all the people I've tricked goes, wait, we thought you were this person, and now you're pretending to be a TI person. We don't know who the real you is. So throughout my life, people have sort of accused me of being dishonest a lot, especially women. And I just hate that allegation. Like, are you being honest? No, I'm dying. Sometimes you have to hide the truth from people so that you can teach them that they don't have to kill the person who their TI thinks is evil, or their FI. Growing up, I did some martial arts that were very Eastern. My teacher had a Buddha in her martial arts studio. She was very Eastern. But my mom always wanted me to go to church. My dad started to really enjoy me going to martial arts classes. So there was a split in which tribe I belonged to. But my FE was able to figure out how to love both people and get both people to love me. I just had to never tell the one tribe about the other. And I did. I really tried to hide from them. But then it started to like leak out, almost through the pores of my skin. It started to leak out that I was living this double life. And I saw it as, well, it's your fault if you think I'm living a double life, Because I know my TI is trying to figure out why these two things aren't incompatible. Like, why do these two tribes have to be enemies at all? But then I go to the one tribe and they go, "You're hanging out with the enemy." It's like, well, it's not my fault that I'm able to figure out how to have more friends than you. So the fact that I'm living a double life, it's the tribe's fault. It's like, I can fix this. Can you? And then they accuse me of being dishonest. I feel like nearly everywhere I go, people are afraid that my presence will destroy everything. Or, no, they know it will destroy everything. Because who I am right now is violently contrary to who everyone else thinks they have to be in order to exist. So right now, I am cursed. And just watching me might put a curse on you. So that's how people are behaving, though. That's not something that I really believe. But that's how people are behaving. They're behaving like my spirit smells bad, and if I get close to them, I might make their spirit smell bad, or maybe the soul. But they fail to realize that the first will be last, and the last will be first in entering into the kingdom of heaven. So if you're a really clever flex type, what you'll do is you'll start scrubbing floors. The trouble is, I did that, so I went to this place, this restaurant, the Oaks Clubhouse. It was a golfing lodge. And I worked as a dishwasher, and they treated me like garbage. So I was going home wet and dirty every day, and they still, they did not want to be my friend, basically. Like, I tried to make friends with people there, and they would just ignore me. They were anxiously avoidant of me. And these are grown men. And it's not because they thought that I was better than them. I think it's because I really was. And they just hated that. Because I was younger. I'm younger than them. I'm way younger than them. And because I tried to hide from them that I have a bachelor's in psychology, but my boss basically started telling that rumor. And then somebody told me, "Hey, the boss said that you have a bachelor's in psychology, and here you are working as a dishwasher." And it's like, I applied to 100 jobs before I decided on the dishwashing position, but my SC is just too weak, I think, to do a lot of jobs. I worked in retail, and I couldn't count back change and socialize at the same time. And I think I can do that. It's just that what happens is I start to make mistakes. Then my coworkers start to become neurotic. Because here's this guy who knows he's better than me, but is far worse at his job. That is, he knows he's better in the NF, and his flex is stronger. And it's like, I really have accrued that much money in the bank. And he's hiding that money, so he doesn't want to share that money or something. And then he makes these horrible errors in, say, counting back change or socializing, such that customers start to get really angry. I could make customers livid. I got in probably 3 really ugly confrontations with customers where they gave me the "I want to kill you" eyes, mails, and that's just strange because it's like I didn't do anything. I've had a lot of people who want to kill me, who have given me the "I want to kill you" eyes. It's amazing. It's amazing. But they don't understand that my trap card is the first will be last and the last will be first to enter into the kingdom of heaven. It's like this way that I understand that the highest form of flex is to use the DE, is to play fair. That's the most competitive thing you can do, is cooperate over time. And then I'm starting to realize that with truly jealous people who they just go nuclear when they're around me. With truly jealous people, I have to have a gun in my holster. Like, I have to keep that evil from corrupting me, because it's not rational how people react when they're around me. People have been turning into monsters lately, just out of pure jealousy. And I know this is decider talk, but I'd say I'm closer to an EJ. The problems in my life have been EJ problems, and I think that I'm OIDE NF. So I think I'm blast, sleep, consume. I think my DI is doubly activated, and I think my DI is masculine. And I think I'm flex. So that would make it easy to type me as an IP. And my brother's an IP, so he wants me to be an IP so that he's not alone. He said, "Brian, we could be the IP bros." I'm like, that has nothing to do with my actual type. So but I think that's just him really wanting, like, to be around the tribe, and he loves the tribe. But the tribe is a nasty place. If you have DE, you know that. You know that if you get caught stuck in a cage with the wrong person, they'll try to eat you. So as a DE user, you have to use persona. You have to use the fact that your ability to understand them is so strong that you might have to show them something false so that you can lead them towards something true. Otherwise, they'll eat you. Like, you have to give them flashes of hope. That's part of what Blast is doing. It's lying so that it can save your life or save the life of another person. And I think that's why Christ spoke in parables, is because he knew that if he just told people the direct the direct truth, they would just spin around on their heel and walk away. Or they'd pick up a stone. And multiple times people picked up stones and threw stones at Christ, despite the fact that he didn't carry a sword. So I think that's what Blast is doing. And there's actually that's actually, according to Orthodox Christians, they call that the veil. V-E-I-L, the veil, which is like some fabric that goes in between you and another person. So it's almost like what Blast is doing is it's manipulating the veil. And there's, I think in Plato's Republic, he introduces a concept of a cave, and it's called Plato's cave analogy. And he says that there's this wall and there's some torches projecting light over the wall, and there are slaves chained up in front of the wall, and they're looking at these shadows cast from torches behind the wall. Behind that wall, there are people who are making like shadows with their hands. They're making shadow puppets and projecting it onto this cave wall. And the slaves think that that's the truth. So this analogy is used to demonstrate the fact that there are individuals with Blast. And I think that's funny, because I think Plato's probably was NETI, so he's probably this crazy observer, and he's like trying to explain with this really elaborate analogy that, guys, there are people out there who are blasting. There are people out there who are blasting. He's like, it's almost like he's scared of Darren Brown. Like, Plato's figuring out this, there's some people, because he probably thought he was like the smartest man alive, and he probably was, and but he knew that he had saviors and demons, and that other people have saviors and demons, and he was like, he had to have known that, because I think he was probably pretty extroverted. But anyways, in Orthodox Christianity, they called the concept of manipulating a veil, they just call it the veil. And it has to do with femininity. So the fact that women want to be beautiful is also the veil. It's a kind of trick, but then the trick has substance, and you're invested in the substance of that trick. That's why the veil is fabric. That's why it drapes, is because it has weight, you know. I think DI symbolically is a sword. DI will utilize a direct attack because it knows it doesn't have time for all this manipulation, and I've got to control you and make sure that you see this way so that you can make peace with that person. It's like DI will just say, enough, I'm drawing my sword. If y'all don't behave, you're gonna catch the sharp end. In that way, I truly believe that DI is symbolically masculine and DE is symbolically feminine. And that's separate from sexual modality. So I think that if you have feminine DI, then that might be like a dagger. You know, it's not a full sword like maybe masculine DI. And then maybe masculine DE is like I don't know, maybe it's like boxing gloves or something symbolically. Or maybe it's just a really thick veil that you can choke someone with, like a pillow. It's like you're hitting someone with a pillow. It's masculine DE. I don't know. I haven't had any... No, that's not true. I've had run-ins with masculine DE. There was a masculine DE ESFP when I was dishwashing, who he and I, the second we made eye contact, it was clear we were not friends. The second we made eye contact. Okay, well, I'm pretty thirsty, and that's 58 minutes, almost 59. I think I'll stitch together a little bit more footage, and maybe another half hour, and see if I can submit that. So. Hello and good morning, objective personality operator, whether it be Dave or Shan or an associate. I thought I would add some video of me doing something, just maybe 20 minutes. Just for fun. So here we go. Today I'm going to be showing you how I program, and I don't know, I think that if you're bored you might really like this. Yeah, so let's just try it. So what I'm working with here is a Google spreadsheet. And if you go to the extensions tab, there's something called app script. And that's a module or an integrated development environment within Google Sheets that allows one to write JavaScript programs which have functionality and within the Google Sheets environment. So once I press app script, it takes me over here, and here I've got this program called Advanced Server Calls version 1. I've got 6 files: code, process type, copy form, generate table, style CSS, and readme. And here's what my program does. So this program is a spreadsheet entry form, and I enter a person's type data. Then I press new crop and enter a picture of that person. I'll just show you. So if the example is Sadhguru, capture. Then I enter his data. And I'm hoping I can share this program with the community. Then I submit the data. And then I wait over here, and on line 11, there he comes up, is the entry I just put in. So I can already see a bit of an error here. He shouldn't be the same number as Chris Evans, or maybe he should actually. I'm still trying to figure that out, how I can index people's types appropriately. But I think it should work either way. So let's go generate table. So, yeah. Anyways. And then I'll click this generate table button. And it takes it a really long time, almost 10 seconds. And there we go. And now what we're seeing is a table of people's types. So I think there are 16 modalities. I think there are 4 modality coins. So I was just playing with this. But when I share this program, I think I want to just have the modalities as you and Shan have them. So here's my grandma. I think she's a Dave. She's an NIFI. There's INFJ Sadhguru. And I just put in a few people just for testing. And like I said, I think I'm an INFJ, so there I am next to Darren Brown in my subjective opinion. There's Dad, there's Mom. Dad's NITE. You guys would love Dad. And there's Mom. Mom's SITE. And then this is Grandpa Hugh. This is my dad's dad when he's real young. And I just put in William Shatner, who I think might be SCTE, but I really don't know for certain. So yeah, that's how the table works. And if I add more people, it'll just line them right up, just like the doc that I believe Shan was keeping in Google Docs. And I don't know what y'all are doing now, but as you can see, this is entirely inspired by that. And what's great about this is I could share this with the sharing feature, and I would be able to share these files, and then everyone could have this. So everyone could start keeping their own data. And what's great is that if you go then to print, and then you go destination save as PDF, then you just save custom 2. So that's page 2. And then dash is 2 onwards, I think. So yeah, so now you can share this data. You can send it to someone else. And if you don't like this view, then, and this could be done on a Google Doc, but I just think it's so neat that that I would enable this. But if you don't like this view, you can just zoom in the browser, and then you go to print, and you go pages, custom, let's go 2 dash onward. Doesn't like that, so let's just say all pages. What's wrong here? So zooming completely broke everything. Let's try landscape. No, it's really doesn't like that zoom change. Well, anyways, I'm sure that can be fixed. And then now when I press clear form, everything disappears. So this took me about 3 years to make this and to get it all working. And now I realize that it would be better not to do it in Google Sheets. So yeah, these numbers shouldn't be the same. I should have programmed it to know better. Or maybe they should be the same. That's strange. Because this should be a consideration of this. And this looks right. Yeah, these are all right. These are the type numbers according to your board. But anyways, so if I wanted to work on this and like change up the colors, I would then go into this style CSS and just start, playing around with these. And I could probably do this for money. I wouldn't mind. Let's see. And I know y'all are thinking, this is ST. It's like, well, when Dave is editing in a extremely addictive state, is that ST? So, Anyways, let me show something else here. I don't think I'm going to do any programming. I'll just show you what I have. So let's go to, let's see, the older version. I had it probably in here. I think this would show the old version. Really slowing down. So I'd kind of like the entry form to look a little more like this. because people are really, really swayed by color. I can spend 3 years working on this other program and make it functional, but then you show someone something with just a little bit of color and a little bit of design, you can see these cells are kind of congruent and nicely shaped, and everything has its place. And so if I demonstrate this to people, they'll just give me much better feedback, I believe. Let's see, were these working? Yes, they were. So yeah, I think I'll try to make the entry form look a little more like this. And yeah, so that's kind of what I have so far. And this entry form wasn't working, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, that should do for this demonstration. Thanks for watching. And I should just say I would be glad to work for any startup company that you guys have. If you call it Objective Personality, I'd be glad to work for you guys. I know you're doing an internship program, but I think I can edit. I've done editing in DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere Pro, and I can create video. I think I'm intermediate to advanced at typing, so I could volunteer or work as a operator. I'm good with Google Workspace, and I'd be willing to probably work for y'all doing odd jobs or whatever. As long as y'all provide me housing, I would be willing to cook. Yeah, just whatever y'all need to get this business off the ground. I'd be willing to help. I'd be willing to pitch in, and I'm extremely passionate about this system. I think it's true, and I think it's so true. I think it's like my DNA. And so sometimes I might be really defensive about certain types. I think it's just because I want people to have control over their truth about what type they are. Even if that's contrary to the Objective Personality methodology of typing people in separate rooms, I believe that people need to own the truth of what type they are. And if there's still a disagreement, that needs to be worked out in the FE until they are part of the community of truth in terms of TE, and their TI is settled and can feel integrated and at peace with other people seeing them as they are. So obviously I'm just talking about me, but I think this does apply to other people. And so, hey, I would love to help. I would love to pitch in. I've been working, but I'm currently out of work. So now would be a good time to pick me up. And anyways, thanks so much for watching and typing. Is probably Dave typing. So hey, thanks, man, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope y'all are succeeding. And I can see that you are feeling happy lately with the current groove y'all are in. So hey, just keep it up. Just keep it up. Alrighty, bye bye.